Go.
What's happening? Black Man Lab live on Zoom, on YouTube. This is Attorney Mauli Davis, one of the co-founders of the Black Man Lab. I'm joined by my brother, Marty Monaghan, straight from Chicago, now in Atlanta, somewhere in Atlanta, in some bunker of some sort, holding it down so that the brother can stay free. What's up, Marty? You might have to unmute yourself, my friend. There you go.
I got it. What's happening, everybody? Glad to be here, and glad that you are watching in on the Black Man Live, Black Man Lab Live tonight. We're gonna have a great conversation.
And Marty, there might be a little something going on with your audio, so check that out. I'm gonna get moving. Everybody, this is Black Man Lab. We are dealing with today. We have a host of lawyer extraordinaires, brothers who practice law primarily in the Atlanta metro area, but we think that the information they provide will be applicable around the country, looking at legal issues that have really come about as a result of COVID-19, how this virus has changed not only their practices, but also how their clients are handling situations. So we have a real estate attorney, we have estate and probate, criminal defense, employment, entertainment, you name it. These are all brothers who are operate at a very high level in the legal community. So I'm excited about that. I want to give you all a little backdrop into what the Black Man Lab is. Typically, when we are not in self-quarantine and when we're not in the stay in place mode, we normally will gather, and it's just men. And it started as a way for us to address our sons. And we were just gathering our sons, trying to get them in the room with brothers to help build their understanding of the world, to allow them other people that they could connect to. We use the term Jegna. Jegna is an African term where what I guess from a European standpoint, they use the word mentor, but we use the word Jegna. And so we try to create space for our young men to connect with Jegna, with men who are masters in their respective fields and endeavors and professions. And so that's how Black Man Lab started. And so we will typically get together at Southwest YMCA, Young YMCA on Hamilton Road. But because of the coronavirus, we are meeting on Zoom, on YouTube, and we hope you're enjoying this. We want to turn, I will turn it over to Brother Marty. We'll see if his audio is cool, and he'll help us move from there. And you are muted again, Marty.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So yeah, hopefully we're going to have a great conversation this evening to get into what's going on in the legal profession as it relates to everything going on with COVID. To start out, though, we want to make sure that we are doing what we normally do here, which is kind of get centered, right? We want to make sure that we're getting centered and we're getting our minds ready for this information that we're going to bring into this space. Because when we're normally together, we call it a safe and sacred space for us as Black men to be open and to be able to share information amongst one another. And within that, we want to make sure that we're all centered with that, especially with everything that's going on today. So what we'll do is we'll ask everybody to just take one big, deep inhale breath and release that. And one more. And just kind of release everything that you've had, that may be pressing on you, so that we can get into a space of really being centered. With that, I'm going to ask Brother Grant to call on our ancestors. So, Brother Grant, if you're here, can you join?
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jared Grant. Welcome to the Black Man Lab. I want for us to honor our ancestors. Before Black folks do anything, we like to think about some of those ancestors that came before us. We have a great past. We have those who showed us the blueprint for survival, the blueprint for excellence. And we just like to always take a moment to honor them by thinking of our ancestors, thinking about those who came before us. So at this time, think about some of the ones that came before us and honored them, those who did some great things, those national or international ones, Lumumba, Shaka, and Zinga. You know, think about some of those great ones that really gave us a great blueprint for excellence. And then throw your fist up and everybody say Ashe.
Ashe.
Hey,
Now think of the ones in your own family, you know, ancestors that are the ones that passed, that created you, your own descendants. You know, we like to think about them as well and honor them. So think about them for a couple seconds. And then put your fist up.
Ashe.
All right. And last,
Ashe.
and because of today's conversation, and we've done this in Brother Mauli's office, just honored attorneys and legal folks from the past. Think about them right now. Who are some ones that have created the blueprint for excellence? Let's honor them and think about them at this time.
Chokwe Lumumba.
All right, and put your fist up, and everybody say Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you all, brothers.
All right. Thank you, Brother Grant. Thank you so much. And now what we'd like to do is bring in one of our other executive board members of the Black Man Lab, Brother Maurice Thompson, to fill us in on some information in regards to a challenge that we have going right now, and any other information that Brother Maurice wants to bring. Brother Mo?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
man.
All right, bros. I had to take this outside because this challenge is getting real. We just added our 17 of 10 brothers who are gathered together for our fitness challenge. So this is our fitness challenge number 2 for this year. This one is called Links in This Chain. So we're honoring the closing process that we go through every week at the Black Man Lab, where we all link up together, or when we used to be able to be in one room, link up together and honor everyone. So we have about 63 brothers who are participating. The objective is to get as many steps in as a team, and then we're going to take the average at the end of the month. So May 1st, we're going to calculate how far all of these brothers have gone, average it up. So this is the team competition. So everyone has to contribute to raising that number up, because we divide it by your total number of team members and come up with the steps. And brothers are already out there doing their thing. I think one of our senior brothers has already accumulated 20,000 steps today, and the day is not done yet, brothers. And the day is not done. So we started off with 5 teams. We're now up to 7. We're in our second draft round for brothers who participate. So if you're still interested, let us know, and we may try to work in the 3rd round for you. All right. So I'll pass back to Marty and to Molly.
And how can they follow us? I guess Mark can put up the image. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, you all, at the end of tonight's lab, you'll see the challenge image, and just go. And Maurice, thank you for your leadership, brother. We appreciate you.
No problem. And Molly's smiling right now because his team is killing it. That brother with 20,000 steps is on Molly's team.
That ain't fair. That's not fair, man.
Hey, that's a senior brother. That brother is putting in work. So I got to get out of here. So I'm about to hang up so I can get my steps in, bro.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
You gotta get us some bagels.
All right.
Thank you, bro. Hey, and with that, Molly, if you want to go ahead and introduce all of our esteemed panel members.
I do. We'll get everyone going. Again, thank you, brothers, for participating. Before we get started, I just wanted to send some love and energy to Brother Fred Parham. His dad is dealing with a little health challenge. Typically, Fred and Joe Barker, they head our resource center for Black Man Lab. Basically, if a brother needs a job, housing, education, or mental health support, they just reach out to resource@blackmanlab.org, resource@blackmanlab.org. He wanted me to share, even though he's dealing with his dad and his parents, he wanted me to share that there is information from the Collegiate 100. And again, Black Man Lab, we rock with any organization is rocking with our young brothers and supporting our young people. And so obviously the Collegiate 100 is a part of the 100 Black Men, and they have done if you go to their Instagram, Collegiate 100 ATL, go to Collegiate 100 ATL, and you will see that they have prepared and recorded a series of videos called Quarantine Tips on finance, college prep, staying fit, etc. So all of our young brothers out there, and this is for you, we want you to go to Instagram, Collegiate 100 ATL, at Collegiate 100 ATL. Get that information. Look at those videos so that you can have the tips that you need as you move forward through these times that we're dealing with. With that, we're gonna jump it off. We got about an hour, a little less than an hour to rock and roll. So I want to start. We want each of our lawyers to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their practice, where they're from. Give it to us in 2 minutes. We don't have the ear doctor to play the music to let you know that you're running over. But Marty and I will start waving our hands once you get to your 2 minutes. But we want you to introduce yourself, give a little background about yourself, what your practice area is. I want to start with Mario Breedlove, and then we'll go to Brother Wesley, and then we'll go to Job, and then that young G of a lawyer, Terrell Thomas, and then we'll keep moving it around. But let's start with Mario. Mario, it's you, bro.
Thank you, Miles. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Once again, Mario Breedlove of the Breedlove Law Firm. I've been practicing since 2003, primarily in the area of civil litigation with a specific emphasis on real estate matters, real estate litigation, landlord-tenant, contract disputes, property ownership rights disputes, things of that nature, along with other business and other civil litigation. Got my own practice now since 2008 in that space, and I'm happy to be on here on the panel.
And a graduate of Fisk. A graduate of Fisk.
Yep, graduate of Fisk University, undergrad, and Emory Law School.
There it is, representing the HBCU. Brother
Yes,
Wesley.
sir.
You're on mute, Brother Wesley.
Y'all be ready to come off mute when it's your time now.
All right, I thought y'all had put me on mute. My fault. So greetings, brothers. Name's Wesley Person. I am a criminal defense lawyer. I have been a criminal defense lawyer since about 2005. Before that, I was a prosecutor in the Griffin Judicial Circuit, where I prosecuted for about 2 years. A graduate of Wayne State University in Detroit, a 2000 graduate. Then I graduated from the Walter F. George School of Law down in Mercer, down in Macon, Georgia, at Mercer University. Primarily, since I've graduated, I've been involved in criminal defense, either as a prosecutor or as a defense attorney. Have my own firm, the Person Law Firm. I've been in practice there since 2008, and I primarily practice out of the Gwinnett County area, although I do go, wherever I'm needed. And I'm currently running to replace our current district attorney, Mr. Danny Porter, in this upcoming election.
All right, Brother Person. Brother Job Milford, my lawyer.
Hello, folks. Joe Milford. I'm an employment lawyer like Mario. I've been practicing since 2003, so that's about 17 years. I've been doing every area since I started. I've been doing employment law, first as a defense attorney with the big firms, and for the last 10 years or so, 12 years or so, I've been doing employee rights. I represent employees in all types of employment cases, from discrimination, harassment, to unpaid overtime, to whatever, pretty much anything to do with the employee-employer relationship. I'm a Howard Law graduate, but I'm primarily a FAMU Rattler, so I go by that. And I'm just happy to be here to share whatever information we have.
Joe, don't be shy to claim HU now, all right?
Hey, man, I'm a Rattler and I'm from Florida, so it's all about them FAMU Rattlers. So, you know.
All right, we'll give you HBCU love. So we'll leave it at that.
Double HBCU, there it is.
Yeah.
Now we got that young G. Where'd he go, man? Terrell Thomas. You know, he's got a background back there with the district attorney's background on it, but he is not on the screen. I'm gonna have to jump to him. He must have run off to do something else. Okay, we're gonna move to Durante Partridge with the Lions Den Legal. Oh, there's look at Terrell, man. Terrell, why don't you sit down, brother, and come on to the mic. Go ahead, Terrell. I will let you start, then we'll come to Durante.
Okay.
Terrell, yourself, brother.
Absolutely. How's everyone doing this evening? My name is. You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and hear you.
Great. Attorney Terrell Thomas, 88 Terrell Thomas. I am the Zone 3 Community Prosecutor for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. From College Park, graduated from North Clayton High School, attended undergrad at Georgia Southern University, where I obtained a degree in sport management, minor in business, and then went and got my law degree at the Georgia State College of Law. Graduated there in 2015. First law school job was I was a public defender for 3 years at the City of Atlanta Public Defender's Office. Then I transitioned and took my talents over to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. You know, that's a big switch there for people in the legal field. But, you know, how I look at it is, you know, there's a lot more work that needs to be done. A lot more reform needs to be done on the prosecutorial side. So taking the holistic approach and, you know, just the understanding of the criminal justice system from that I learned at my time at the Public Defender's Office. And also, you know, just the insight that my mentors bestowed upon me, such as Miley Davis. There's you know, it's time for a change and I'm down for it. You know, I'm at the table now in the prosecutor's office and I'm able to put my 2 cents in to get those changes done, and glad to be here.
Thank you, T. We appreciate you, brother. All right, Durante Partridge.
Yo, hey, good evening, everybody. Attorney Durante Partridge, Lions Den Legal. Lions Den Legal is composed of 2 different practices. We practice criminal defense on one hand. On the other hand, we practice in the areas of entertainment law, and we do some business formation as well as it relates to entertainers and, you know, just some other clients as well, small businesses, if you will. Graduate of Georgia State University, undergraduate degree in marketing. Attended Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall School of Law, and I've been practicing since 2012. Started out as a prosecutor in Fulton County. Well, actually, let me rewind. I started out working with Attorney Davis over at Davis Bozeman. He and Attorney Bozeman, and just kind of learning the ropes, and then went over to the Fulton DA's office for a couple of years, and I've been on my own since 2015. So just happy to be on and happy to do my part. We have a lot of criminal experts, so I'll mostly speak from the lens of entertainment and some business stuff that I've experienced as well as it relates to entertainment this evening. So just happy to be here and to contribute.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate you. We're going all the way down to South Georgia. Brother Francis Johnson, somewhere in South Georgia. I don't even know where in South Georgia. The brother moved so much. Is Francis on there? Can we pull Francis up? Or did he fall off? He's not on. All right, we're gonna come back to Francis if we can't get him. Oh, there he is. Come on, Francis. And then we've got Claude after him. You've muted yourself, Francis. Come on, brother. This nice looking picture of you.
Good evening, everyone. Brother, can you hear me?
Hear you now.
Yes, sir. Francis Johnson from South Georgia. I am a public theologian, educator, and attorney. I focus on individual rights, civil rights. I also do some criminal defense, and anywhere that a litigator is needed. Glad to be in the Black Men Lab tonight. Thank you, Brother Molly.
And give them your background, brother.
I'm just committed to the liberation of people. Thank God for my own liberation. I'm the father of 3 children, the husband of 1 wife, Dr. Mika Williams Johnson. And we make our home in the other Georgia, and are doing that. I got my education out here in the Beth Borough of South Georgia, Georgia Southern, University of Georgia, and just glad to be in the lab tonight with other Black men.
Appreciate you, brother.
Nice to have you,
Appreciate
Francis.
Say hello to everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had to, you all, we just wanted, we can't just center on Atlanta. We wanted to make sure that Brother Francis could give us a perspective of what's happening in the legal community as we move about throughout the state of Georgia. So with that, we want to bring in Claude Davis. Claude, come on in, brother.
Hey, how's everybody doing this evening? My name is Claude Davis. I'm originally from Southwest Atlanta. My areas of practice are primary, wills, and probate. Did my undergrad at University of Georgia, degree in finance, went on to University of Miami. In Florida, I've been practicing since 2003. Started off doing significant personal injury, medical malpractice, tractor trailer type cases. Beginning in 2008, I started my own firm, and over the last 5 or 6 years, a growing part of my practice has been wills and probate related matters. How I got into that is that with any significant personal, well, not with any, but with a lot of significant personal injury cases, somebody's life has been forever changed, and you need to have somebody in a position to be able to settle those claims. So that's how I got involved in that. So I help people with healthcare directives, wills, trusts, other estate planning issues. I also help families when their loved one has gotten to a certain point and needs somebody to be officially appointed to be their guardian or conservator. I help families transition through that process.
Thank you, Brother Claude. We appreciate you. I think Brother Marty is going to start you out with the first question, and we're going to keep it moving from there.
Yeah, so panel, question for the whole panel here, really. And the question is, what changes have you seen in your practice as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of how you've had to practice and as well as your interaction with your clients? And I'll pose that first to you, Francis. What do you think? If you're there, we can't hear you. You might be muted, Francis. We can't hear you. I tell you what, we'll come back to Francis. And Wesley, I'll ask you that. How about that?
Well, I mean, it's been an interesting situation given the lockdown. I have a few clients that are unfortunately incarcerated. They're waiting for their trial. So with a lot of these courts shutting down, we haven't been able to get into court. We haven't been able to litigate our matters. The courts are operating on an emergency basis only. And that basically means unless you have a matter that the person will get out of jail or it's a legitimate emergency where it deals with the health or well-being of a person, the courts are not entertaining any matters. So that makes it a little bit difficult. I have been going out and seeing a couple of my clients and just kind of, keeping them abreast of what's going on, trying to, stay in contact with family members and let them know the status. But, it's an anxious time. You got to keep a lot of people's nerves calm because, they just don't know what's going on. Right. And, because we're in a lot of flux, it's difficult to tell them, hey, I can, see that we'll be in court next month. So that's been some of the impact that this has had on my practice.
I think and I was wondering about that in specifics, in that I know somebody personally that had a court date set for the 11th. I think it was the 12th or 11th of this month, or whatever it was, but it was coming up, and the court, changed it to push it back. And I can imagine that that's just happening fairly often. So it's got to be affecting you guys' practices with that. Yeah. Brother Breedlove, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's had an immediate impact. Approximately, I'd say out of a given week, I'm probably in court 20, 25 hours a week, 3 to 4 days a week, litigating landlord, tenant, and other civil matters. And so it's as the suspension of court hearings has had an immediate impact on our practice and our clients' expectations, and in terms of how they want to move their various matters forward. So that's been immediate. Some judges, mostly in the state and superior court system, have been doing some preliminary issues via conference call or Zoom or some other format. But for the most part, largely with the civil cases, which are in very rare instances are civil cases considered essential. It's been almost at a standstill. We represent a lot of small businesses and a lot of medium-sized businesses in the real estate and business arena, and it's a state of it's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety for a lot of small business people, most of which are of color. And it's an uncertainty in terms of how their businesses are going to run, will they be able to meet payroll, things of that nature. So in addition to trying to manage the practice the best we can, mostly remotely, a lot of my time has been spent trying to allay the fears of a lot of my business clients and individual clients as well.
All right, thank you. Before we move forward, I just want to make sure that we introduce one of our other panel members that's on, which is Brother Mel Burrow. Brother Burrow, can you give yourself a quick introduction to the Black Man Lab audience? Brother Burrow, if you're there, you're muted.
All right, you got me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, I'm attorney Mel Burrow, CPA. I've been practicing law for about 20 years and practicing as a CPA for 28 years. Areas of specialty on the law side is bankruptcy, Chapter 7s, IRS offering compromises, estate planning, and wills, trust, and entity incorporations. Also on the CPA side, tax practitioner, corporate LLCs, individual tax preparation, and offering compromises.
Thank you so much, Brother Burrow. While we have you, can you speak to that question just in terms of how the pandemic has affected your practice?
Well, for a minute, it looked like I was, it's peak season for me as far as tax preparation is concerned. So I didn't think it was going to affect me that much until especially after they moved the deadline to July 15th, things sort of slowed down. But once folks found out there was that $1,200 check is coming out, now all the folks that's been delinquent, who's been behind several years, are now coming up, trying to get caught up. The other thing that's really interesting is now the bankruptcy court, which is really not a court that's designed to stay up on the cutting edges of technology, have now someone has issued some type of mandate where we're going to start doing our 341 hearings via telephone, which is usually that only happens if you have someone incarcerated or someone in an institution. But now it looks like I have 3 hearings that's coming up. I'm supposed to have 3 of them tomorrow. They moved them to the 28th of April, and they're going to be teleconference. So that's going to be interesting. We'll be the guinea pigs to find out how that's going. But a lot of younger folks have been trying to advocate for this a ways back, and now we're finally here.
Yeah, interesting how technology innovation is coming into play in some very old school, business practices, right?
Right.
Never before would you look at this happening in anybody's court situation. So that's interesting. Brother Durante, how about you? How's this affected your practice?
Man, we've had a number of things happen. So just kind of recapping what Wesley has said as it relates to criminal law, we've had a lot of people that are in custody that are ready to get out, especially over in Fulton County where we have confirmed cases of coronavirus. We've been working like crazy trying to work with the prosecutors over there to work out bonds and other things to kind of move things along for our clients over there. On the entertainment side, almost immediately, a lot of our TV and film clients, production and things like that all over the place have been stopped and halted. I had a couple of clients that were in the middle of filming reality show stuff and TV stuff and other movie stuff. And, right now everything is at a pause. So that's been one thing. And, just trying to figure out ways to help them continue to push so that they can make money, because if they're not filming, they're not making money. So that's been an issue. So we've been, just trying to get creative with some of our clients to produce different content and things like that so that we can, go to Instagram or whatever other outlets we have while staying safe and abiding by the quarantine rules as it relates to everything. But, our practice, for instance, we've stopped meeting clients in person, just to make sure that we're safe and things like that. We've gone to the jail to do some meetings and things there and taking proper precautions. But, the name of the game right now is just being safe and just staying in compliance and staying healthy, because, obviously if we're not healthy as lawyers, then there's no way that we can do for our clients what we need to do for them. So that's been the big thing for me, is just to stay active, stay healthy, and, just stay abreast to everything that's happening, for sure.
And that's an interesting piece when you were first talking about there, as far as you have some people that are currently incarcerated, and the pandemic can hit in the prison system itself. So there's got to be a need to expedite getting folks out, especially if there were not a heavy duty crime behind them. So I can imagine that with the court systems being kind of, like you said, on pause, that's problematic for them. So yeah, interesting. It's just interesting stuff that you don't necessarily think about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brother Milford, how about you?
Well, we've had somewhat of a mixed bag. In the employment space, we've gotten a whole lot of calls because obviously folks are trying to figure out, can an employer do this? What are my rights? This pandemic has impacted the employment relationship significantly. And obviously there's some new laws on the books, specifically it relates to the corona, that has required a lot of advice and counseling. So we're getting calls off the hook about, can they do this? Can they do that? That's not necessarily generating any income, because a lot of it is pre-sued and it's really just advice and counseling. But that's been good in terms of getting up on the laws, and down the line, it should help. In terms of, we still do a lot of conferencing. I actually have a mediation tomorrow, video conference mediation. So that's been interesting. I haven't done a mediation that way before. And so working through those dynamics, certain pre-suit cases are resolving themselves. And then we also have the problem of some of these employers, the smaller employers, are like, basically, we got bigger issues to deal with than your potential threat of a lawsuit. And so that has hampered progression, and that has also caused some lowball lawsuits, resolutions, because some of the folks are just inclined to get the case done because they don't know what the future holds. As far as litigation, we're subject to the same stay orders, and so that has slowed cases down as well. That's always beneficial to the defendant. We always, we like to move the cases, so that's hurt our practice as well. So for the most part, we're getting a lot of calls, a lot of activity, but not necessarily a lot of money. And so that has been an interesting dynamic for us to manage, because we got to keep up on the law, advice, counseling, all the stuff we have to do, but it's not really bringing in money. So that is really a lot of issues for us.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my follow-up questions for you, is that while all that is occurring as far as, you know, the needs of your client base, at the same time, if the court system is not moving in the way that it's supposed to move, then your revenue stream of income is probably muted a bit, right?
A whole lot bit. And so that is makes it very difficult for us. But at the same time, I got a mediation tomorrow and a mediation on Thursday. And so some employers are settling, they are trying to get it done. And we anticipate a lot of litigation down the line. Once all the dust settles and the employers finish doing what they're gonna do, then we suspect that quite a few folks are gonna make mistakes, and that's typically where we come in at.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, brother. Appreciate it. And I'll let Francis, if you want to join in, if you're available, if you could, you know, kind of follow up with that.
Sure.
There's some developments that you know of.
Yeah, there are lots of developments. We're busier than ever. I advise lots of nonprofits, religious organizations, and they are all trying to take advantage as best as they can the CARES Act, which was passed by the United States Congress in response to COVID, one of 3 bills that provides some relief. And so new revenue models exist, and I would encourage people to explore those, because obviously your legal fees can be included in the PPE program, that is the Paycheck Protection Act, and any expenses and legal expenses are included in the act specifically. And so we've been advising our clients, and many of them are simply saying, can you help us navigate this process? And obviously there can be fee arrangements associated with that. So beyond just advice, additionally, I'm chairman of the New Georgia Project, and this is a time when people are in crisis, there are some who will not waste a crisis to exploit. And so this democracy will not take care of itself. We understand we have a national leadership that's not interested in democracy. And so this week we've been prepared to file 2 separate lawsuits in regards to the Voting Rights Act and the intent on certain political partisans to delay or even cancel the upcoming election. So we're being proactive about that. This COVID-19 has also pushed the law to catch up with the times. And so as a member of the Board of Governors, we pushed the governor to execute executive order on the 31st that authorized online and video signing of legal documents like wills and deeds that had been hammered and stuck in committee before. It's done now. The state of Georgia has also mailed out absentee ballot requests to every active voter. And an active voter is a voter who's participated in elections 16, 17, or 18. We have for the last 20 years asked them to do that, and they said it was too expensive. COVID-19 has got it done. So the ballot request will come to every single person. Now we're pressuring them to pay for the postage since people are sheltering in place. So we're busier than ever. Of course, our criminal work is being stymied, but at the same time, we're fighting to get folks out of these jails, because if you think a cruise ship is bad in terms of COVID-19, try a cruise ship called a jail without any luxuries and all the worst aspects of a large public gathering. So these are not safe spaces, and we've been making great advocacy strides to get folks out on the federal and on the state side. So lots of legal developments. Crisis sometimes brings people to the point where they have to try new things. And so for those of us who are advocates, we need to exploit this moment. There's certainly others with nefarious motives who are doing the same right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that feedback, Francis. Appreciate it. Brother Claude, can you give us some feedback in terms of how the pandemic is affecting your practice? You're on mute, Brother Claude, if you're there.
I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
I thought I hit the button.
No problem.
One of the ways that shape the type of practice that fewer people in the building that do not work in the office. Clients that can just coming by in order to drop off paperwork, we just go outside to get it and bring it back into the building. For those who do come into the building, most of the staff and attorneys have on some sort of face covering in order to prevent the possible spread of a virus or some other germ from themselves to the client or vice versa. For pleadings and other paperwork that I can get folks to sign offsite and notarize offsite and have it mailed back to me. I wasn't aware that anything had been changed regarding notarization regarding wills. That was interesting. I don't think that's happened yet, but I think it was, they made an exception for real estate transactions. So deeds, yes, but I think the fiduciary section is still trying to get something passed regarding wills. So maybe we can have folks notarize or witness stuff, not necessarily in the presence of somebody, but via some other means similar to what they're allowing in a real estate transaction. So I guess, and because of the court order affects the probate court, and the probate court, I guess maybe similar to the bankruptcy court, is one of the more antiquated courts as far as the way that we do stuff. A lot of stuff is basically hard copy in most courts. So because of the COVID situation, you have the offices are understaffed because some people have had to take off due to child care issues. And a lot of the offices aren't set up for people to necessarily really work off site. So there's a backlog on them getting to pleadings or getting to anything that's considered to be an emergency, which is determined pretty much by whatever that particular probate court judge decides is an emergency. Something that most courts have decided is a non-emergency, of course, is the issuing of gun licenses or the renewing of gun licenses. That's something that goes through probate court, and a lot of probate courts have decided that that's not important. If it's supposed to be renewed, it'll carry on until the end of this the court slowdown. But that's for the most part. That's a change in my practice. I do a lot more emailing and having people sign stuff and mail it to me as opposed to having them come to the office. When they come to the office, we just try to take as many precautions as possible.
Hey, Claude, can you clarify something? Did you say getting a gun license? Are they still issuing gun license in probate, or they are not?
My understanding from the courts I'm involved with in the metropolitan Atlanta area, even down in Bibb County, is that they're not.
Okay. I'm surprised, but okay.
But they're not issuing gun licenses until this matter comes to conclusion. And if you're up for renewal, then if they have a certain number, they're saying it's going to be automatically extended. But they're not issuing new gun licenses at the moment, because that's considered not to be an essential duty of the court. At least that's what the probate court judges that I'm familiar with in the metro Atlanta area and down in Bibb County and even Spalding County have decided.
Understood.
Thank you, Brother Davis. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Young Bull Terrell Thomas, can you tell us about how this has affected you in terms of your practice?
Sure. I can expound a little bit about what's going on down in the DA's office. As a community prosecutor, my role is to be in my community, which is Zone 3, the south side of Atlanta. I'm over repeat offenders in that area, high profile cases, reducing gang prevention and quality of life crimes such as burglaries and auto thefts. So they've got us working from home, working remotely. So we're staying on top of our case files. We're kind of going with the flow as long, basically what the Supreme Court of Georgia has stated. They've extended it to May 13th, I believe that's the date. So only having essential hearings. So from how that's affected me is not really having to go to court. A lot of out of cases or non-violent cases that I've handled, I went ahead and consented to those as far as, bond. But our office as a whole, we put out a series of orders early on to go ahead and let a good amount of non-violent offenders out of Rice Street. And then I think after that, they're doing it in waves. Mr. Howard's doing it in waves. He's taking a look at cases, because I think we can all agree that it's probably not the best idea just to let everybody out of Rice Street, every single person. So justice is a case-by-case basis. As far as non-violent offenders in jail. As far as the virtual sessions that I've been a part of, I haven't seen much pushback from judges as far as getting those granted. A lot of the Superior Court judges, you can email their case managers and get on the docket if needed. A lot of the out of custody cases are being further noticed. They're out of jail. There's no harm there. It's the primary focus on in custody cases and people that aren't able to make their bond. As far as in the community and meeting with APD and Georgia State Patrol, I've been meeting with them weekly. Major peak over in Zone 3 as far as the mandates from the city, and then the newest mandate coming from the governor. They're more focused on their zone and their mandates or their directives in respect to their jurisdiction, which is the city of Atlanta. They already had the stay-at-home order from Keisha, so the mandate from the state doesn't really change much. But personally, in speaking with the officers, they're not out there. From the consensus I get is they're not really out there bothering people for various reasons. Number one, they're concerned about catching this COVID-19 as well. So, as far as making arrests and to coming into contact with individuals, and if it's something that they can escalate or de-escalate and keep it moving, I've heard that to be best practice. Even there appears to be a lot more law enforcement out there on patrol. It seems to be more just an issue of they're just addressing the issue of being present and in the community. So you're going to be seeing a lot more APD, a lot more GSP, but I'm not familiar with any specific directives because it's arguably, they can't, with a car traveling, there's no way to determine whether that vehicle traveling or that person walking is walking for an essential matter or not. There's no precedent for this. So they haven't really been bothering people. Crime rates have actually went down, except for ag assaults, which goes towards domestic violence and people being in the house for long periods of time. Those things kind of naturally happen. So we're looking for ways to address those. But other than that, law enforcement's pretty just trying to be present and not trying to do too much. And we've been feeding, just to put it out there, we've been working with purpose-built schools to distribute hot meals Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at a Thomasville Heights Elementary. Because a lot of people are working, a lot of parents aren't working, are working or don't have the means of transportation to get those meals or access to those meals at the designated schools. Thomasville, I think Price Middle School and Cleveland Ave. They can't get up there. The kids are left home alone while parents are at work. They can't get access to those hot meals. So we've been coordinating with them, transportation and going into the neighborhoods, into the Thomasville Heights area, into Forest Cove, Four Seasons, and knocking on doors and making sure that these kids at home, they're doing the work, making sure they're getting their homework packets and making sure they're getting good, nutritious hot meals. That goes towards poverty, fighting poverty, which is in turn fighting crime. So, it's a different dynamic. This is what we're going through. It's the dynamic. It's, you just have to be adaptive and, just take it day by day and be able to adapt to the things that come and taking into consideration what people are going through, because everyone's situation is different. So
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate all that feedback, and thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. We need that. From our leaders in all aspects. So thank you so much. With that, I'm going to move over back to you, Maoli. And wanted, before you get into what you want to discuss, I want to pose a question to you as well. You're a attorney practicing with your own firm, and just talk a little bit about how that's affecting the Bozeman Davis firm.
Yeah, well, we're our firm, we are really down to what we call a skeleton crew, where people that come into the office are really essential personnel. We have about maybe 5 people max in the office. We have a staff of total of 20. So over more than 2/3 of our personnel are now working remotely for most of the most of their work day. We are still, receiving clients. We have set up a desk outside of our office where clients can fill out paperwork. Then we leave it out there and then, bring it in. We sanitize the paperwork. We're operating with gloves, with now face mask. As of today, everybody has face mask on, in addition to the gloves and the sanitizing. So it's a very, very different world. We're still, pushing cases, still filing lawsuits, though, one of the things that, those of us who are litigators understand is this will eventually pass and we will have a day in court. And so right now, the not having the ability to get a trial, because right now there will not be a trial at least until sometime after May the 13th. So there will be no juries brought in because of this judicial state of emergency, which is just as of today has been extended to May the 13th. So that delays things, but we're still filing lawsuits and we're still fighting. So with that, I would like to just turn to the brothers with the time that we have left. I really want you guys, each of you, just to tell the Black Man Lab audience and the folks that are listening in, what are one or two or even three things that you suggest they focus on, whether in the criminal defense space. I tell my sons, they're 20 and 22. Now is not the time to get arrested. That's for damn sure. Because going into a jail situation is not a healthy situation. But if you all have other, we talk about gems often. If you all have some gems as it relates to your practice area, just to tell our community, hey, consider this, and just from your perspective in your practice area, that would be helpful. I've heard, Mario, and maybe you can get us started, that they are not doing any, and I don't know if this also applies to commercial leases, but they are not doing any evictions right now. What does that mean? Does that mean we can go rent free for a couple of months, or will we eventually have to pay our rent? You got to unmute. You're muted, Mario. Yeah.
I got it.
Yep.
Just a good question, Miley, in terms of that area. Obviously, the judicial stay applies to all, eviction cases. In Georgia, when a tenant files an answer to an eviction case, there's automatically a hearing scheduled. There's no summary judgment or automatic judgment unless the tenant does not file an answer. And it's kind of an antiquated system, meaning that in all cases, all tenants have the right to come to court, whether or not their case is contested or not. Obviously, all those cases have been stayed and suspended via the judicial order. In another layer to it, especially that impacts our community, is that all landlords who receive any type of federal funding, whether it be a Fannie Mae loan, whether it be Section 8, whether it be project-based assistance, public housing, essentially anyone that gets some type of support from the government, a landlord that gets a support from the government by way of a rental subsidy. The CARES Act actually gave 120-day stay on any action that a landlord can take against a tenant to remove them from the property. That includes demands for rent or demands for possession, a filing of an eviction, and the assessment of any late fees or any fees related to non-payment of rent. So that's a huge development in our space, in that we represent clients on both sides who are involved in the low-income housing arena. And so, having said that, my advice to the general public would be continue to pay your rent to the extent you are able. I would not recommend this as a looking at this as a free opportunity to not pay your rent. Because when this is over, when this stay is over, whether it be the judicial stay in May or whether it be the longer stay pursuant to federal law under those type of leases, that money is going to be owed, and those individuals' housing would be in jeopardy. And so further, you know, if it's a case of a layoff or a reduction in hours or some type of impact to your income, my recommendation to the public would be to get with your landlord as soon as possible and try to work out some arrangement, whether it be a payment plan or some type of understanding with your landlord, in order to be able to maintain that relationship when all of this is over. And I think, you know, most landlords, at least the ones that I represent, you know, they tend to appreciate that that type of interaction. I don't think it will be any different in this case.
All right. Thank you, brother. How can folks contact you, man, if they have landlord-tenant questions? What's the best way?
Certainly, man. My office number, which we're in and out of the office. Me and my two paralegals, the three of us kind of are doing rolling shifts in the office, trying not to be in the office together.
Right.
My office number is 770-458-0012. Also, our website is thebreedlovelawfirm.com. And my email address is mbreedlove, MBREEDLOVE @breedlovelawfirm.com. I'm sure.
Thank you, brother. Brother Wesley.
Thank you.
Brother Wesley, you have something, you know, a gem for the young people who are out there regarding anything around criminal defense law that you want to share, Brother Wesley Person. You got to unmute. There you go.
I want everyone to kind of be on the lookout. During times of crisis, you tend to get government trying to expand its power. And you're going to have a lot of things coming up in the news everybody needs to be aware of. I know the Attorney General of the United States, William Barr, is trying to suspend habeas corpus relief. And basically what that means is habeas corpus means when you have some kind of constitutional issue, you file a motion to be able to be brought before the court so that those things could be aired out to determine whether or not your rights have been violated. So I want everyone to kind of just stay focused. I know that we're all looking at the, you know, what's going on in the hospitals and in places like that. But I want us to stay focused on what's happening in our governor's office, in our mayor's office, and in our prosecutor's office to make sure that there's not this power grab. I will also second, third, and fourth what Maui said to people: now is not the time to get in trouble, especially if you're sheltering in place with someone. You need to make sure that you don't, you know, get yourself in trouble as it relates to domestic violence, because that one you will not get out. You will not get a bond. The prosecutor will not agree to a bond because unfortunately there's been a rise in domestic violence situations since the shelter in place. So I want everyone to just maintain calm and cool. Just, you know, try to do things to keep yourself relaxed. I know it's a stressful time. Meditation. Take a walk. Exactly. Take a walk, meditate, go outside and sit in the grass. Do what you have to do to maintain your sanity. This is a, you know, this is a challenging time, but don't do anything to get yourself in the criminal justice system, because you will be in there for a while. Like we said, the latest extension is May 30th. Who knows if it's going to be extended beyond that? We don't know. We're all in a state of seeing what's going to happen. So just keep yourself calm and, you know, take this time to learn something. One of the things I've been doing during this time is just reading stuff that I hadn't had time to read because of my practice being so busy, reading books, reading poetry, listening to some music that I hadn't listened to in a while. Just take time to explore something different. You know, learn how to cook. There's a bunch of YouTube channels out there that teach you how to cook. Just do something, you know, creative and just explore and we'll get through this shall end, and we will go back to life, and we will learn to appreciate things a lot more having gone through this situation.
And Brother Wesley, how can they get in contact with you if they're in the Gwinnett area having, some difficulties?
Yep. Well, you can reach me, my cell phone. I'm gonna give y'all my cell phone. This is my legit real cell phone. 678-963-8653. I answer it all times, all night. My ex-wife used to hate that about me, but that's what I will answer it. If you need to go to my website, it's www.attyperson.com. That's my website, and my email is wesley@attyperson.com.
All right. Joe, I know everybody out here, man, has questions about this employment situation. Give them a couple jewels real quick, and then how they can reach you, man. What should folks do, man? What should they know about their rights in this historic moment with so many people getting laid off and folks getting sent home?
Well, that's a very good question. What I say to folks, and I get calls from both employees and employers, is safety first. That has to be the top priority. A lot of folks say, well, do I need to do this? You got to make the decision that's the safest for you and your family. Follow the guidelines, and essentially, as most you can, stay home. There's a lot of new laws that address, there's unpaid leave, there's paid leave, there's the unemployment laws. There's a lot of new laws that help you stay home. So my advice is typically stay home. Let's be safe first. Once you get past that, then you have to deal with the employer, communicate, discuss, find ways to find a resolution, because it benefits a lot of employers to work with you. They're getting all these tax benefits, all these different benefits. So there's a win-win if you all work together by following the rules. And then, of course, the third thing, if that doesn't work, consult with a lawyer, consult with the laws. There's DOL has a whole bunch of stuff online, but if that's not enough, give us a call. We can be reached at 404-681-4886. That's 404-681-4886, or you can shoot me an email at job@pmlawteam.com. But if you hear nothing else, be safe first. I've had people say, I don't want to go to work, but I'm afraid of losing my job. And can I do this? And I always tell them, hey, look, man, what's most important right now? So stay home. There's a bunch of benefits out there for you. Paid leave, use them. This is the time where the government is paying us to stay home. So stay home if you can. That's all I got.
Thank you, brother. We're gonna have to reach out to you, man. We're trying to navigate these waters as well, man, with things changing so rapidly. It's like every day there's a different nuance that we have to do. So we'll be reaching to you. We appreciate you, Joe. Thank you, man.
No problem, man. And hang in there, folks.
All right, Terrell, what you got, man, from a community prosecutor standpoint, man? What do you want to tell these young brothers? And I know you don't have a number for them to give out, because nobody want to call a prosecutor.
Nobody want to call a prosecutor till they need a prosecutor. That's right.
That's right. That's right. What you got for him, Terrell? Tell him, man.
Just from the small things the small stories and incidents I am hearing from APD. Like I said, I think they're more, they get paid the same, so they're not looking, most of them aren't looking to do anything extra or to come into contact with anybody extra unless, someone gives them a reason to. So if you're doing what you're supposed to do and you're at where you're supposed to be at, then you're in a safe place. So if you are out, be sure you have a legit destination, somewhere essential, work, family member's house, the grocery store, something like that. Just to piggyback off what Attorney Wesley mentioned in regards to the domestic violence, totally agree. There's only about 2 or 3 crime stats that are going up, and aggravated assaults and domestic violence is one of them. So, you might get restless in the house and you might want to go to, a homegirl's house of yours, to go kick it or, chill for the night or stay the night or whatever. So that's boyfriend, girlfriend, or, significant other or opposite sex sheltering in place. Just be careful. If something comes up, she going through the phone and she starts tripping, or another girl, FaceTime or something. If there's an argument that takes place, think about it. Just de-escalate the situation. If you need to leave, leave. Don't go back and forth at all. Don't go back and forth at all. Another one is public gatherings. Again, a lot of the young people, including, I'm talking about myself too, just getting restless, just staying in the house all the time. So, someone texts you like, hey, we got a small kickback over here, come through, bring a bottle, and you go pull up over there. That's a public gathering, which isn't permitted at this time that I know of. So, it might just be a public gathering, then, more and more people show up, and then you don't know who these people are, not just for the health concerns, but also, people bring drugs, people bring pills, people bring alcohol, guns, and then everyone's at this public gathering, this kickback, and then, that's a violation. Next thing you know, someone's reporting the noise, someone's calling the police come out, they're banging on the door. Hey, you're not supposed to be having this public gathering. You just came to stop by because you was restless at the house. You're not doing anything, but you're in the residence where there's drug paraphernalia, where there's firearms, where there's pills. So once they smell that, once that odor hits them, that's a probable cause issue, which I'll defer to, Mally and Durante in regards to whether that is probable cause to search the residence. But, at that point in time, you're in a situation where these officers are now coming in the house, searching, and you might be with some people that might not claim was theirs. And then now what? Now everyone's getting charged with a firearm that comes up. Oh, the firearm's stolen. Now what? Now possession of a stolen weapon, firearm, stolen weapon, theft by receiving. Now you got some pills. Now you got 3 different kind of pills. That's 3 different counts. Marijuana, possession, and you don't know what else is in that house. So that kind of snowballs into something that could be really crazy. So I've seen maybe
you laid one out there, man. That did get crazy. You walked and it's true, and I know you've seen it. We appreciate you, brother. How can but I do think it's important, man, if there's a way young brothers and moms, who and dads who just want to reach to a young conscientious prosecutor, man, what way can they reach out to you just so that you can help inform them when school gets back in, what have you? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, well, under the guise of just separate and apart from me being a prosecutor, just being an attorney, just being a young man of color, down to help the people on that side of things. I'm cool with my personal in this setting, with this organization. I'm comfortable with my personal contact. It's 770-990-3306. Again, that's Attorney Terrell Thomas, separate and apart from ADA Terrell Thomas. Attorney Terrell Thomas, 770-990-3306. So if any parents, family members, any young Black man wants to shoot me a text, my email as well. It's government email is fine. Terrell.Thomas, that's TERRELL.Thomas, THOMAS, at FultonCountyGA.gov. So Terrell.Thomas at FultonCountyGA.gov. Feel free to hit me up anytime. I'm pretty responsive. Any questions or any hypothetical situations, I'm always down to help.
Appreciate
you, brother.
Y'all remember, man, he said hypothetical. So y'all don't call him talking about, I know a body buried over. Y'all don't do that one. All right? Don't do that.
Call Durante for that one.
That's right. You got a body called Durante or Wesley or Francis. Francis will come all the way from South Georgia. Brother Francis, man, I want you to jump in real quick, man, in terms of giving some guidance, just your thoughts and gems. And I know we're running short on time, but we're gonna get through everybody because all of you all have very valuable information that our community needs at this moment in our history. So, Francis, what do you have you'd like to share, man? And then how can folks reach you when their kid goes down to South Georgia and does the food? You're on mute, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. So I agree that this is a sea change. I can remember at 9/11, feeling in my spirit that this was going to alter the way the world worked. And this is a moment likened unto that. And so there are folks who will probably lie to you and tell you that that we're going to go back to some normalcy that relates to the way things were. We just won't. And so for those of us who can understand this moment, you should think and reflect and relax and rest, because we're going to need you in this fight. I've gone back and forth to Kitty O'Mary's poem, and it says, and the people stayed at home. And the people stayed at home and they read books and they listened, they rested, they exercised. They made art, they played games, they learned new ways of being, and they were still. And they listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And unfortunately, some people I've known for a long time have already died. And the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses, made new choices, dreamed new images, created new ways to live and to heal the earth fully, and they were healed. So I would just encourage folks to appreciate this moment for what it is. This will be a moment that will birth new artists, new prophets, new business ideas to solve the problems that we're having right now. And so think about what role you want to play in the next iteration of our life, because it is here. The revolution is here right now.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And how can folks contact you, man? Give them some info.
You can find me. Just follow the light in the midst of the darkness. No, I'm just kidding. Reach me at francisjohnson.com. Francis Johnson, FRANCYS.com. You type in free black man anywhere outside of 285, it's gonna pull me up automatically.
Appreciate you, brother. Hang tight now. Don't go nowhere. We're gonna close out in our traditional way. Come on, brother Burrow. Brother Mel Burrow, come on, click in for me. You gotta take yourself off of mute, brother Burrow. All right. We still learning Zoom, folks. Come on, Claude.
Okay.
Davis.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. One of the things I would suggest is that people can strongly consider maybe go ahead and get a healthcare directive, particularly those people who are not married and may have two parents living, or those people who may not be married and have multiple adult children. The reason being for that, so you'll clearly designate who you want to make your medical decisions for you in case things do go south. And also, regardless of your marital situation, it's helpful to have that type of document in order so that your loved one knows what type of life-sustaining measures you would like to be used in case you get to a certain point. Also, another thing I would point out is because the probate courts are going so slow now due to the backlog, that if you do have bank accounts or other financial instruments or financial institutions, that you're the only account holder, that you may want to strongly consider going ahead and listing a beneficiary on that account so that your family will have access to those funds immediately without having to go through a probate process in order to get access to those funds, especially if you can do it electronically. As far as doing a last will and testament, that's a little bit more involved of a process. You may want to consider having that done and working with somebody that you're comfortable with to make sure that it can be executed in a way that also protects your health, because you also don't want to hasten anything happening prematurely, but you do want to make plans for things just in case, even though we trust that things won't go bad.
And brother Claude, how can they reach you?
I can be reached at 404-939-1130. I also can be reached at my website is www.cdsquared, that's CDSQU, ARED.com, or it can be emailed at cdavis@cdsquared.com. And I practice in the Atlanta metropolitan area, as well as some of the smaller, more rural counties that's outside the metro area.
Thank you, brother. And brother Burrow, you gonna come on in now?
I got you, bro. Sorry about it. Hey, man, this is a challenge for me too, bro. This tech.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was gonna say is, you know, the economy has a lot of cycles, peaks and valleys. And as a result of this, because I do Chapter 7 bankruptcies, I can foresee down the line, a lot of folks, you know, it's gonna be a demand for some bankruptcies. But if you think you're in a situation or you anticipate having to file a chapter, don't go crazy and spend money in excess. You know, be wise with the funds that you have, establish a budget, because there's certain rules as far as, you know, folks anticipating filing and running up debt that may not be discharged. You know, you may think just since everything is going, everything doesn't go. If they see that there's some abuse, what they call abuse, anticipated abuse, because you anticipate that you're going to file, so you start charging things up and being reckless. The other thing I would mention is that the mortgage companies, for the most part, I've given at least 7 or 8 of my clients so far some advice to call the mortgage company and see if they can get some type of suspension, and they're granting these 90-day suspensions on these mortgage payments, which means that they're taking the mortgage notes and they're placing it on at the end of the note, and they're not affecting your credit report, which is really important to free up some cash, because we don't know how long this is going to go on and what the end result will look like in October, November. So if you can suspend or put off paying a mortgage or a car note for 90 days, I think that's significant. And I think they probably should have, whoever, when they drafted this bill, they probably should have worked from the bottom up instead of the top down, because that's what they're going to take so much money and steal so much money off the top. When really, if they could have set up some type of mechanism where they could front people's rent and front people's mortgages for 90 days and car notes and student loans, those three in itself would have been advantageous. And lastly, I would say, the IRS is technically shut down as far as contacting individuals and trying to get in contact with a revenue officer or an agent. So if you call there, they're going to say until this is further notice, no one will be available to answer your call. But I think, and a colleague and I, in the process of researching to find out, I don't know if they suspended collection actions, which is levies and garnishments from IRS, and if you jammed up. That's still pending. That hasn't come through the Treasury Department. We're still looking for that, looking for the results of that. And the last piece is, turn off the TV, because the TV can create a lot of anxiety and get you all wound up. And Brother Francis mentioned something that was really powerful. And I had one of those, a reading that was real powerful also, because I think there's a spiritual dimension that's associated with this. And a lot of folks are not getting it, and they think it's, you have all these conspiracy theories. But I believe in the power of the universe. And it says, we fell asleep in one world and woke up in another. Suddenly, Disney is out of magic. Paris is no longer romantic. New York doesn't stand up anymore. The Chinese wall is no longer a fortress. And Mecca is empty. Hugs and kisses suddenly become weapons, and not visiting parents and friends become an act of love. Suddenly you realize that power, beauty, and money are worthless and can't get you the oxygen you're fighting for. The world continues its life, and it's beautiful. It only puts humans in cages. I think it's sending us a message. You are not necessary. The air, earth, water, and sky without you are fine. When you come back, remember that you are my guests and not my masters. I think it was pretty profound.
Ashe. Appreciate
Ashe.
you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Brother
You
Durante.
can reach me. You can reach me at 404-734-0914. That's 404-734-0914. And my email address is bk@melbourrowlaw.com. That's bk@melburrow law.com.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, brother Durante. And then we're gonna close up, brothers. Y'all hang tight. We're gonna close in our traditional Black Man Lab ritual.
Hey, I'll make it quick, man. Just what I've been advising my clients and just, doing myself and just trying to practice is, just establishing a daily routine and just finding ways to be creative to do my job and whatever it is that you do for my entertainment clients and business clients, just being creative and figuring out a different way to level up. Just staying still and staying in the house and, figuring it out. So I just advise that to everyone at this point, man, and just to take a deep look at ourselves and, just make sure that we're on the right path and doing what we need to do. So that's been the most important thing for me over the last couple of weeks. But, I'll say that and I'll say this in parting for my criminal people, definitely, I can't say it enough, as others have said on this panel this evening. This is definitely not the time to get in trouble, so stay clear of that. And, everybody just be cool and be good moving forward. I can be found on IG, Instagram at Lions Den Legal. Phone number for the firm is 404-592-2970. I'm sorry, I gave the wrong number, 404-594-2970. I've been out of the office too long. I'll give my cell phone as well for that. For those, if you need to reach me on my cell, it's 404-431-9398. But IG or cell phone is probably the best way to get me at this time. Email is too, but it's just too long, so I don't want to bog you guys down with that. But everybody be good and just keep going, and let's get through this together.
Thank you, brother.
Brothers, we appreciate you. Brother Marty, thank you too for always being here, man, co-hosting and bringing the energy and the intellect. And we just want, anyone that's watching just to, consider this. We've had tonight, I believe, 9 African-American male lawyers. So 9 or 10 Black men who are attorneys who are practiced at a very high level. And we just want this to be our offering as the Black Man Lab. This is our offering. Next week, we'll come back and we'll discuss entertainment. So Durante, we may have to have you back. We'll discuss how COVID-19 is impacting the music industry. So we'll have our brothers in the music game. So, please reach out to young people. So often there are these conversations that are had amongst Black men that really, especially in a moment like this, have no meaning. I mean, you can't even talk about the NBA because the NBA isn't playing. You can't talk about the NFL because nobody is playing. We can't even have golf conversations. Right now, it's a chance for us to talk about the things that are important and critical to us as a community as we build and grow. And so with that, we want to close in our traditional way. We link arms. If we were able to link arms physically, brothers, but we just act like you link your arms right now. This is a ritual that was given to us by Queen Njiri Algani, one of our great organizers here in the Atlanta metro area and across the country, originally from Detroit, in Cobra leader, and just always a soldier. On WRFG, they called her Sister Courage. We just called her Mama. So she gave us this at every meeting she closed out. She would ask us to repeat, I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are
Links
links
in the
links in the
chat.
chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't
It
break
won't
here.
break here.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you, brothers.
Ashe.
Look forward to seeing you all next week for Black Man Lab live via Zoom. Peace.
Thank you, brothers. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Good work.
Hey, 5,